So we've got jobs report out, and it's delayed, of course, from where it should have been. The data is not. I don't think the data is 100% there, but I'll get into that in a minute. We can't necessarily control the data we get. I think it's a lot of it's freaking cooked. There's fingerprints everywhere there, but let's take a look at something that we can control. So when it comes to your family and what it is that you're trying to build here, I don't know as a real estate investor what your intention is. My intention was to not only build assets for myself, but assets that can pass on to the next generation. If that's you, then let's keep talking about that. The other thing it is how do you pass on to the next generation without loss? When it comes to um, probate courts are loaded with cases all the time. So it means somebody failed to do their part. The other part of it is you may do your part correctly, but do your heirs know where it is? Do you have it all stacked up in your safe? Is it in your Google Drive somewhere? Is all the stuff in your email? Do you have it all in your head? What happens if there's the unexpected? Right? In 2008, I was in a motorcycle accident. I didn't expect that. It took everything from me. I had a net worth about $3 to $4 million. I have a marathoner, rock climber, mountain biker, had a great business going. And in just a matter of 15 minutes on a Harley, because of somebody's inattention, I found myself in a hospital. Memory was wiped. And by the time I got out of there, I was 156 pounds. I had no business, no income. My net worth went from over 3 million, between 3 and 4 million, to a negative net worth of 1.5 million. All assets were wiped. I didn't have proper structures whatsoever. I had to start over at less than zero. 1.5 million less than zero is where I had to start over. My credit score went down to 460. I had to crawl back from that to 2016, where I started thinking about it correctly. And I didn't think about it correctly on my own merit or my own volition. It was somebody else's choices in their life that led me to that, to get the life insurance policies, which is my foundation, to then the trust, to then the holding companies, then the LLCs. And let's talk about that kind of thing for a minute. So how are we going to help your family? Let's take a look here. These are things that you can control that I think that you should really consider controlling and taking ownership of the future. So right here, we're going to go to QJO Entity Vault. When you go in there, you're going to see a video of me on how to get going. You can start right here and start signing up. Not hard to do. You start filling out the information, register it. This code is already embedded, so you get the first 30 days for free. Now let's see what this can do for you. Look at this. Look what it can do. You can literally take this is you, create your family trust. And when you open that up, when you put that in there, you add your trust. You literally can put your trust agreement in here. You can put those documents in there. Now I have dummy docs in here, so you can see that I didn't put actual agreements in here. This is all mislabeled Wyoming Holding Company stuff. So I got mislabels in here. So, but let's go back into your vault. You got your Wyoming Holding Company. So what this does is it ties directly to you. So you tied to the trust as the trustee. From here, the trust starts a holding company. And the holding company, you can open that up. And in that holding company, you have the same documents, the articles, the EIN, the operating agreement. Let me see if these ones are labeled correctly. And yep, there we go. So the articles. So I labeled all these things in there, and what's next in it would be your different LLCs. We'll go back in here. So that Wyoming Holdings, it's important to have a holding company that starts the LLC. Now, the sole owner or the sole member of this LLC is the Wyoming Holding Company. That is where you purchase your real estate. This is at least how we're doing it. You do it however you want to do. And within you can add these same documents into this as well. But what we're also talking about is the assets, the rental house that you have. What do you have here? So you can put within that the house that gets purchased, the settlement statement, the appraisal, the insurance information, the first payment letter, the property tax statement. It's all here visible for your heirs to see. When you create an account with that, if you have an account for this, you can actually tie it to Plaid. We have the ability to tie this to Plaid. So all these things, easy for your family to see, your spouse to see everything on how it's built, where you are and your spouse, more than likely, the family trust, and all the beneficiaries of the trust will be showed in there. The holding company, each LLC in each state that buys the properties and hold the properties. This right here is a game changer, and all the information is there. Is what's probably the best part of it. You don't have to worry, where's the data? What's going on here as far as the information is concerned? What am I working with? I don't know. Right. So be aware that if you don't have some way to convey this information so they know what they have, they're at great risk. It's not just probate court. You can't just set this up and say, okay, they're going to be protected because this is all in here in the trust. We can avoid the probate thing. What about the mortgages? What about the taxes if those don't get paid? And they don't know because it's not going to them. Let's say your spouse passes. Now it's up to you. And then you pass and your children are not the ones receiving that mail. They don't know where to go get it. They don't know who the mortgages are through. They don't know who the taxes are through. They don't know what insurance companies. There is so much risk out there, so much potential loss. Mitigate it. Take control. For less than 99 cents a day, you can save your family from loss of all that you built. Don't let all the stuff you put together just vaporize because you aren't paying attention. So that's that. I want to put that out there. Now we're talking about the job situation. So on the surface, the jobs report should have been helping bonds a little more than it did. The unemployment rate ticked up a bit, which is what, usually will help the bonds, push more money over there. That's kind of number that usually gets bond market really, really moving, but it didn't get very excited. That move got watered down fast because participation also rose just a little bit and payrolls came in much higher than they anticipated. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics basically admitted that the data is messy, lower response rate, weighting changes. And then we still have the unknown impact of the government shutdown. So the translation of all that, this thing's got some dirty fingerprints all over it as far as I'm concerned. So the unrounded unemployment rate also moved things just a bit, right? Not to the full 0.2% everybody thought. It moved only 0.13. Reaction, the rounding did work in the labor market. And bond trading volume is, there's a lot of volume going on there from what I understand, but there's not a lot of movement in the price. So in my breakdown of that is a lot of noise, not a lot of conviction. So the report doesn't change much of the story. This confirms that the Fed is continuing to the labor market is saying what the Fed is saying, that the labor market is softening. It's not necessarily breaking. So it's weak enough to keep cuts on the table. It's strong enough to avoid any sort of panic. So we'll wait for Thursday's CPI and see if that does anything. I don't know that it really, really will. I think that right now with the government shutdown, with the fact that it's now putting out this data and that this data is continued to be delayed, it's kind of pushing bonds to stay in a more docile position. So let's take a look at what those bonds look like, just so you guys can see. We've got this line that I drew a long time ago. If you've been watching, I put this out there as kind of the midline for this trend. So you have the cap here, which is the top of the price the day of announcing the day they announced quantitative easing in November 2008. This here is the bottom of the day they announced quantitative easing of 2008. So that's the full trade day right there for open and close. And we keep hitting and bouncing off that bottom. We've not reached bottom in some time, though. We haven't touched that bottom since September 3rd. And we stayed well above it for quite some time. I could even put that as a floor now. But what we have here is it keeps bouncing on this mid-range. We actually, yesterday, we broke below it, went above it, settled on it. Now, we try to go above, we keep hitting it. So that mid-range there's some attraction there with respect to the value of that bond. So where traders are putting their capital, they don't believe that's really worth much more than that. Every time it gets much higher, it pulls right back down to it. Even with the Fed lowering rates, when it was below it, it pushed that price to that point. So that price right there, that 101.1 or 100 basically, was 101, 101.00, 101.01, either one of those, that's an attractive spot for this bond. That's where it's pulling it. That's the 5.5. So there is other coupons out there that you can look at, but this is one I've been tracking because I can see all the way back, and I've been playing with this ever since quantitative tightening became a thing. This is the one I've been tracking on, and so far it seems to be living up to everything we think it's going to do. Market seems to stay the same. So analysis is, don't wait for what's going to happen. If somebody says the rates are going to go down because what we have out there, this is everybody I'm seeing online saying, man, the rate should have dropped a lot. We should have seen a big drop. We're not seeing it. There's an attraction there in that price. I've been saying it over and over and over again. Lock it, move forward. Lock it, move forward. Keep going about your business. Build your business. Build up that chart I just showed you. Make sure you have those things. Having that, waiting on that to build, time's not on your side. Time's going to keep moving, whether you're thinking about it or wanting to do it someday. Do it now. Someday was yesterday. That was your someday from the time you start thinking about that. Do it today. Start building that chart out. Go to the QJO entity vault right now and start setting that up. And let's build your future. See what you want and let's go get it. Let's construct it. We can show it. And then you can show your family. This is what we got. What does that feel like? Be able to show your family, look what we built. This is us. Think about what that feels like. Talk to you guys on Friday.